Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. I'm Troy Gomez. It's Friday, 8th of September, and you're watching Newsline World. We're here to bring you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe. First, in the headlines, the Philippines and Vietnam are finalizing a 5-year rice cooperation deal that is hoped to help ensure Philippine food security and agricultural production. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi hailed the 21st century as the century of Asia during his talks with Indonesian Prime Minister Joko Widodo during the ASEAN-India summit. Saudi Arabia and Iran exchange ambassadors after years of their so-called rupture that has been restored following a peace deal brokered by China. Ukraine is set to receive the controversial depleted uranium ammunition despite the opposition of the United Nations and other international groups. And Japan's moon sniper lander successfully blasts off into space in a bid to become the 5th country to land on the moon. These and more for tonight's edition of Newsline World. In the news, the Philippines and Vietnam are eyeing a 5-year rice cooperation deal that would ensure food security in the country. MJ Mondeja reports from Jakarta, Indonesia.
Haba po kami ay nasa Jakarta, ay walang tigil po ang aming pagtutok sa sitwasyon na ngayon na ating hinaharap tungkol sa bigas.
This is the issue that the president was grappling before attending the 43rd ASEAN Summit in Jakarta, the high cost of rice due to uncertain supply. Upon returning from the summit, the supply of rice was immediately on his agenda. Vietnamese Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh and President Marcos held a bilateral meeting on the sidelines of the ASEAN Summit as both countries are close to finalizing a rice trade cooperation deal that would ensure rice imports from Vietnam for 5 years.
We look forward to having stable framework of cooperation of rice trade for a long period of at least 5 years.
In the Philippines, we have put the frontier sector as a priority in our economic planning and transformation on agriculture, especially with the interface of what we are anticipating in terms of the El Nino and the drought that it brings.
In 2008, the Philippines and Vietnam signed a memorandum of agreement to import 1.5 million metric tons of Vietnamese rice from 2008 to 2010. However, this was affected by the rice tariffication law in 2019, and rice imports from Vietnam did not materialize. Vietnam is one of the top rice-producing countries globally, with 4.84 million metric tons of rice exports from January to July of this year, valued at $2.58 billion. In the first 5 months of this year, the Philippines imported nearly 1.5 million metric tons of rice from Vietnam, accounting for almost half of Vietnam's rice exports during that period. Once the multi-year deal is finalized, the government expects rice prices in the country to stabilize. The president also had a message for the Prime Minister of Vietnam.
We hope that we can find an agreement so that there will be an exchange in terms of all of that.
In addition to the rice deal, Vietnam and the Philippines are also finalizing agreements on maritime cooperation and the both welfare of fishermen from both countries. Apart from Vietnam, President Marcos also discussed rice during a bilateral meeting with Cambodia's Prime Minister. This month, the private sector imported 2,500 metric tons of Cambodian rice into the country.
My administration will continue to ensure that our constructive engagements with ASEAN, our dialogue partners, and stakeholders serve our national interests and the well-being of the Filipino people.
President Marcos has once said that he will lift immediately the price cap in rice supply once the supply normalizes. For Ganamabulog, Philippines, I'm Jay Mondihar, SMNI News.
The ASEAN Summit has recently concluded, and among the top leaders invited to this event is India's Prime Minister. He conveyed that the 21st century is a century of Asia and reiterated his support for the region. Andres Santos tells us more.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the 20th ASEAN-India Summit hosted by Indonesia, wherein he emphasized the significance of the bloc and India's East policy, as well as its critical role in the Indo-Pacific Initiative. Modi said, quote, "The ASEAN group stands as the epicenter of growth in ASEAN affairs, valuing the inclusion of all voices. ASEAN has played a significant role in global development, reflecting the ideals of unity, shared destiny, and a common future. As we assume the Indian G20 presidency, we recognize that the 21st century is the century of Asia." The Indian Prime Minister also reiterated his country's strong support for ASEAN and highlighted the resilience of their cooperation in various sectors. Meanwhile, Indonesian President Joko Widodo said that while the cooperation between ASEAN and India has not yet yielded any substantial benefits for the people, it was important to enhance this partnership, particularly given the immense potential of the Indian Ocean. Widodo pointed out that the Indian Ocean's vast expanse connects 33 countries with a combined population of 2.9 billion people and contributes to 1/5 of the global GDP by 2025. The 43rd ASEAN Summit in Indonesia, the current chair of the ASEAN this year, includes leaders from Southeast Asian countries as well as non-ASEAN partners, which took place from September 5 to 7. Reporting, this is Andrea Santos, SMNI News.
The Philippines is getting ready to welcome the Prime Minister of Australia on his anticipated visit to the country on Friday, September 8th. Sasha Haza reports.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese interacted with 3 Asian countries for this week alone. His 3-nation trip includes a bilateral visit to the Philippines on Friday as Canberra strives to foster diplomatic ties with regional partners. Albanese's 3-nation tour started in Jakarta on Wednesday for the 43rd ASEAN Summit and related meetings. It will be followed by a trip to the Philippines on Friday, where he is expected to meet President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to discuss how the two countries can strengthen cooperation on defense and maritime security. The visit will make Albanese the first Australian Prime Minister to visit the Philippines in the past 20 years. From the Philippines, the Australian leader will travel to India to attend the 2-day G20 summit this weekend. Albanese also confirmed his plan to visit China later this year after talks with the Chinese premier on the sidelines of the ASEAN summit. Reporting from Sydney, this has been Sasha Hassa, SMNI News, Australia.
Foreign diplomats are banned from visiting Solomon Islands starting next week. To find out why, Sheena Selim will tell us more.
Effective on Friday, September 15, the Solomon Islands will not welcome visits from any foreign ambassadors as local officials prepare to finalize the national budget. The decree will take effect 2 months from September 15. The letter was addressed to all development partners but did not name any specific country. The Solomon Islands has seen an increase in visits by senior diplomats from Australia, the United States, Britain, Japan, Saudi Arabia, and China. Foreign ambassadors flocked to the country after the small island nation signed a security pact with Beijing last year. Washington and Canberra have expressed concerns over the security pact signed between the Solomon Islands and China. But the island nation slammed the criticisms and signed 9 more agreements and memorandums with China in July. Reporting from New South Wales, this is Sheena Selim, SMNI News, Australia.
Leaders of the G20, meanwhile, have reportedly agreed to grant the African Union equal membership status to the European Union, signaling an expansion of the organization's membership during the upcoming summit. Alisa Torres has the details.
Leaders of the G20, a group comprising advanced economies, unanimously agreed to grant the African Union permanent membership status, putting it on par with the European Union within the organization. Various media reports say that the move to grant membership to the African Union garnered support from key nations, including Russia and Senegal, whose President Macky Sall, former African Union chair, argued that it rectifies an injustice. African nations collectively hold the 8th position in global GDP. However, Eba Kalondo, spokesperson for African Union Commission Chairman Moussa Faki, said the bloc has not yet received an invitation to the G20 summit. To recall, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Narendra Modi, who currently holds the G20 presidency, expressed that he wants AU to become a G20 member, which currently holds only one African country, that is South Africa. G20's move follows the expansion of the BRICS economic group of countries following a summit of the bloc held in Johannesburg last month. Reporting this has been Alisa Torres, SMNI News.
Following weeks of devastating wildfires, streets have turned into rivers as a storm batters Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria this week. More of the report from Margaret Parcasio.
High waters have turned streets into rushing rivers as heavy rain and thunderstorms sweep Greece, Turkey, and Bulgaria since the beginning of the week. Rivers that have overflown have also damaged bridges, while Storm Daniel triggered landslide in some areas. Due to this, reports say at least 14 people have died in the three said countries, and several remain missing. On Wednesday, a group of residents struggled to cross a street amid flash floods, hitting the Greek capital city of Athens. Footage shows three residents holding each other by hand as they cross the street surrounded by water. It is estimated that the equivalent of an entire autumn of rain fell in 24 hours northwest of Athens, causing the flooding. In recent weeks, Greece has been struggling with historic wildfires, including one which scored more than 81,000 hectares or 200,000 acres of land near Evros, in what was the biggest wildfire ever in the European Union. Currently, more rain is expected in the area, leading to concerns of even worse flooding. Meanwhile, search and rescue efforts are still underway. Reporting, this is Margaret Parcasio, SMNI News.
Aside from the U.S. Department of State's additional $1 billion worth of assistance to Ukraine, Washington will provide another package following the Pentagon's announcement that it will send the controversial depleted uranium tank ammunition for the war-torn country. Carlo de la Peña has the details.
120mm rounds of depleted uranium tank ammunition will be given to Ukraine by the United States as part of a $175 million aid package to help Kyiv fight Russian forces. The Pentagon stated that these rounds would be for the M1 Abrams tanks that Washington provided to Kyiv. Furthermore, the uranium's density is said to be 1.7 times that of lead. This ammunition is controversial, however, as depleted uranium has generally been associated with grave health hazards. And while depleted uranium is factually radioactive, although it's not as much compared to natural uranium, a Politico report citing U.S. officials said that depleted uranium is not a radioactive threat, citing studies published by the UN's nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, saying that the existence of depleted uranium residues dispersed in the environment does not pose a radiological hazard to the population of the affected regions. The IAEA also says there could be a risk of radiation to humans who handle fragments of depleted uranium rounds. The International Coalition to Ban Uranium Weapons said that such weapons pose dangerous health risk, like cancer, from touching or ingesting depleted uranium dust. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency also stated that depleted uranium is dangerous when it is inside a human body. Another research also reported that depleted uranium causes cancer and birth defects in places like Serbia and Iraq, where such ammunition was used. But it's not only the United States that has decided to provide these controversial ammunitions to Kyiv. The United Kingdom has already sent a shipment of such rounds to Kyiv earlier in 2023, which were intended for use with its Challenger 2 tanks. The UK Defense Ministry said it has used depleted uranium in its armor-piercing shells for decades. On the other hand, the United Nations has condemned the use of depleted uranium, just like how it condemned Washington for sending cluster munitions to Kyiv in July. Despite criticism and condemnation, the Pentagon said it is confident that the Ukrainian military will use depleted uranium ammunition responsibly, similar to how the military agency expressed confidence over Ukraine's use of another forbidden weapon of war, cluster munitions. This is despite reports last May about burnt-out American vehicles in which Ukrainian militants reportedly attacked Russia's Belgorod To recall, the Pentagon, along with the U.S. State Department, doubted the authenticity of the images regarding the matter. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SMNI News.
The president of South Korea is urging countries to stop their military cooperation with Pyongyang. This comes amid the alarming increase in tensions in the Korean peninsula and after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un accused Seoul and its allies of conducting a rehearsal to invade his country through conducting military drills. Salayun files this report.
South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol called for a strong response against North Korea, saying that any attempt to cooperate with Pyongyang when it comes to military affairs must stop. Yoon made the comment at a summit meeting with bloc countries members of ASEAN in Jakarta, Indonesia this week. The office of the South Korean president did not explain that statement, but it was made following the alleged arms negotiations between North Korea and Russia, which both countries lied about. Recently, the United States announced that South Korean Kim Jong-un plans to visit Russia to meet President Vladimir Putin. To this, the Kremlin replied that they have nothing to say regarding reports about the two leaders. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu first announced North Korea and Russia's plan to conduct joint military exercises. In the meeting with ASEAN leaders together with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and China's Premier Li Qiang, President Yoon said he is ready to become closer to the two Asian countries so that their relations will be better with each other. The annual summit between the three countries has not been held since 2019 due to tensions, especially due to the history of Japan's accomplishments during World War II. Seoul, Isabela, SMNI News, South Korea.
More news when Newsline World returns.
Rooted in a 2012 Supreme Court ruling favoring predominantly female council employees, has forced the city to cease all non-essential spending. The equal pay settlement is estimated to be between 650 million and 760 million pounds, or $816 to $956 million, with monthly liabilities increasing at a rate of 5 million to 14 million pounds, or 6.3 million to $17.5 million. The Birmingham City Council conceded that it lacks the resources to cover this outstanding sum, prompting the imposition of strict spending controls. This means that all new spending, except for support to vulnerable individuals and statutory services, will be halted. Deputy Council Leader Sharon Thompson acknowledged long-standing issues, including the equal pay liability, and cited £1 billion or $1.25 billion reduction in funding by successive conservative governments as a contributing factor. Austerity measures may affect non-mandatory services like libraries, cultural projects, and infrastructure maintenance, raising concerns about the fate of the 2026 European Athletics Championships scheduled at Birmingham's Alexander Stadium. Meanwhile, the UK Prime Minister's office emphasized local councils' responsibility for managing budgets. Downing Street expressed concerns about governance arrangements and requested assurances from the council regarding taxpayer money's reasonable use. Local media estimate that at least 20 government bodies in the UK may go bankrupt over the next 2 years amidst a broader ongoing funding crisis. Reporting, this has been Jane Conita, SMNI News.
Saudi Arabia and Iran have warmly received the ambassadors of their respective countries months after the former rivals ended years of diplomatic tensions. Melchizedek Cadiz has the details.
Assalamu alaikum. Iran and Saudi Arabia take the restoration of their diplomatic ties to the next level through the resumption of diplomatic missions and the recent exchange of ambassadors.
Tehran and Riyadh, two major oil producers in the Middle East, agreed to fully restore their diplomatic ties through a peace deal brokered by China in March. Iran also made the first step to reopen both its consulate in the Saudi city of Jeddah and its embassy in Riyadh. Tensions between the two countries can be traced back to 1979, although the recent breakdown took place in 2016 when protesters attacked Saudi diplomatic missions in Tehran after the execution of Shiite cleric, which urged Riyadh to sever diplomatic ties. Riyadh warmly received Iranian ambassador to Saudi Arabia Alireza Ianati on Tuesday, while its Saudi counterpart Abdullah bin Saud Al-Nasi arrived in Tehran on the same day.
Saudi Arabia anticipates a future visit from the Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi after he received an invitation from Saudi King Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Barakallahu fikum jami'an. Kan hada Melchizedek Cadiz akhbar SMNI Kuwait.
Global visitors are counting the days when the so-called world's largest tourism, leisure, and entertainment project will open its doors once more in Dubai. Gratero Umore reports.
Local and international tourists brace themselves for months of fun, food, endless entertainment, and shopping as Global Village reopens on the 23rd of October for Season 28. The region's leading multicultural family destination for entertainment, dining, shopping, and attractions will start welcoming visitors on October 18 and reopen for 194 days until April 28, 2024. The family park will reopen a week earlier this year in response to the overwhelming demand and to let everyone enjoy an extended period of thrilling entertainment, cultural diversity, and unparalleled attractions. Visitors will enjoy more than 6 months of vibrant atmosphere, captivating shows, and unique shopping opportunities as 90 countries gathered together in one place. The Global Village started as a small project in 1996 and received more than 9 million visitors in its last edition. Organizers promised to provide local and international guests with even bigger and better surprises. Weeks before its scheduled reopening, Global Village recently won an international award for health and safety management for the second consecutive year. The entertainment park beat nearly 2,000 participants competing for the said recognition. Reporting from Dubai, this has been Gratero Umori, SMNI News, United Arab Emirates.
China reaffirmed its unwavering commitment to respect Cambodia's sovereignty during a recent visit by a Chinese official to the Southeast Asian country. Chatmong Konpisamaigasol reports.
A visiting Chinese official expressed the full support of Chinese President Xi Jinping for the new royal government of Cambodia, led by the Cambodian People's Party, or CPP. Liu Jianxiao, director of the International Liaison Department of the Communist Party of China, or CPC, paid a courtesy call to Samdech Hun Sen, president of the Cambodian People's Party and the country's former prime minister. The Chinese official also paid a courtesy visit to Hun Manet, the newly appointed Prime Minister of Cambodia and President of the CPP's Youth Wing. The discussions focused on several mutually beneficial bilateral issues, including the post-election situation in Cambodia, the celebration of the 65th anniversary of the establishment of Cambodia-China diplomatic relations, and the Cambodia-China Friendship Year. The two parties expressed satisfaction over the strong and dynamic momentum of the strategic partnership in all aspects of cooperation between both countries for prosperity, peace, and development in all fields. They are committed to enhancing relations at all levels. Both parties have pledged to continue communication, visit exchanges, and mutual support in regional and international forums. The ambitious Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, also elevated the bilateral ties between Cambodia and China to greater heights. รายงานจากราชบุรี นายชันมงคล พิสมัยโกศล SMNI ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
After being postponed for 3 times, Japan has finally succeeded in launching its lunar lander, the Moon Sniper. Ria Saito has the details.
Japan launched a rocket carrying the country's first successful lunar lander, and this H-2A rocket blasted off on Thursday morning. The Moon Sniper is expected to touch down the surface of the moon around 4 to 6 months. Moon Sniper was launched from Tanegashima, Japan, after being postponed 3 times because of bad weather. This rocket is also carrying a research satellite developed by the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, or JAXA, the European Space Agency, and NASA. If Japan succeeds, it would be the 5th country to land on the moon after US, Russia, China, and India. Tokyo's lunar launch came weeks after India made history for successfully landing their Chandrayaan-3 spacecraft near the moon's south pole. Meanwhile, Japan's Moon Sniper is expected to land hundreds of meters close to the Shioli crater. Japan's rocket is also carrying X-ray imaging and spectroscopy mission satellites, a joint project conducted by the space agencies of Japan, US, and Europe. 以上、日本からセトリアニュースをお伝えしました。SMNI News, Japan.
Various community Filipinos in Japan thank Pastor Apollo C. Buloy as well as SMNI and the Keepers Club International for its significant contribution to nation building. Shun Matsui reports.
With its positive contribution to the community, SMNI and the Keepers Club International, both founded by Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, was invited in an exhibition game where they received recognition and acknowledgement by the Filipino community. On its 7th season, the Aguilar's Basketball League, the D-League, invited SMNI Japan News Bureau and Keepers Club International Japan Chapter to an intense yet friendly exhibition game. The D-League is an annual one-day basketball event composed of teams constructed by the Filipino communities in Japan.
Kaya po ginawa ko itong isang event na to at para maging kaisa-isa ang lahat ng OFW at Filipino community dito sa Osaka.
Also in attendance is Welfare Officer MWO OWA Osaka Miss Pilipina C. Dino to support the event as well to promote and spread MWO's goal in helping the Filipino community.
Sana po ipagpatuloy ninyo. Alam ko po na ito ay isa sa way ninyo para maalis yung boredom. No? At magkaroon pa ng mas malawak na komunikasyon, koordinasyon sa mga kapwa Pilipino dito sa Japan. So sana hindi po malimit lang yung inyong mga samahan sa mga permanent resident na dito, bagkus isali po natin yung ating mga manggagawa na pansamantalang nagtatrabaho dito.
The Filipino communities expressed their gratitude with a plaque of recognition and awarded SMNI for being a trustworthy news agency and its contribution to nation building. They also recognized the Keepers Club International for helping the youth by guiding them to become productive citizens of society. The Filipino communities in Japan thank Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy for SMNI and Keepers Club International, which he founded due to his great love not only in the Philippines and Filipino communities in Japan, but also in other countries across the world.
Salamat po sa SMNI yan na namomonitor po namin. Kayo ay talagang aktibong tumutulong at sumusubaybay sa ating mga Filipino, hindi lang Filipino workers, Filipino community dito sa Japan. Salamat.
Salamat po, Pastor Kibuloy!
Mabuhay! For God and my beloved country, Nihon kara hokoku itashimashita. SMNI News, Japan.
After attending the two-day back-to-back sessions of the ASEAN University Network Quality Assurance International Conference held in Bangkok, Thailand, key officials of the Jose Maria College Foundation Incorporated expressed their gratitude to school founder Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy for his continued support to them. Anissa de Guzman reports.
JMCFI key officials were sent off for an out-of-the-country business trip as part of the Philippine delegation to attend the AUN Quality Assurance International Conference in Bangkok, Thailand.
It was truly a productive and fruitful out-of-the-country experience for JMCFI key officials as they were sent off by the school as part of the Philippines delegation for the highly anticipated international event. School President Dr. Felix C. Chavez shared the next big step for JMCFI after gaining valuable insights from the conference.
Within this year, we will be subjecting our college for AUN assessment for the 8 programs. And that particular AUN assessment that is in a form of accreditation is actually very important. The next step is to apply for university. That is a very this is a very important endeavor for Jose Maria College, and that is why we are very much thankful to our founding president, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the support that he has given to us, especially that we are one of the highest delegates in this AUN convention.
AUN Executive Director Dr. Choltis also welcomed JMCFI as one of the newest members of the ASEAN University Network. He further shared AUN's vow to assist member schools in attaining their goal of providing quality education.
Welcome all of you to join us in this quality movement. We will put forward this progress to your university and other universities who are under the AUN-QA network.
Moreover, the JMCFI delegation also shared the importance of attending this said prestigious event in line with the school's goal of becoming a university that is globally competitive.
We are therefore preparing ourselves to really be a seedbed for global education.
The AUN certification is very important towards our goal, the JMC's goal of becoming a university.
We in administration and finance must also cope up with the demands of the institution as it supports its mission to provide consistent and quality education.
The academic head of the JMCFI College of Law also shared the relevance of AUN-QA in maintaining academic excellence in the graduate program.
JMCFI has consistently maintained high bar examination performance, and we would like to maintain this high performance by the standardization of our College of Law program in JMC. So it has been quite a productive conference with so many insights gained that we could apply to the JMC College of Law. And thank you so much, Pastor, for the privilege to participate in this conference and for your all-out support for the JMC delegation sent here in Thailand.
As JMCFI continues to expand its international linkages, partnerships, and research opportunities, the said conference also paved the way for the school to expand its network and elevate its standards to international benchmark, together with various accredited higher educational institutions in the ASEAN region.
Being an associate member of the EUNQA, it can facilitate partnership and collaboration among STEAM institutions in the ASEAN countries. It can facilitate student exchange program, faculty collaboration, and research partnership.
So for us to become a university, so there is really a need to strengthen our research because it's the backdoor of becoming a university. We had this AUNQA as a shortcut process for us to fast-track our application for universityhood.
Moreover, AUN also shared its plan to move forward and encourage member schools to apply for institutional level assessment as a relevant process for internal quality assurance.
The AUNQA is moving, it is stepping up more. It's not only about assessment at the program level, but we are stepping up to encourage every university to join in the assessment at the institutional level.
At this conference is to look out for the new institutional assessment that we think is really going to take off. We have done many program assessment, over 1,300.
Wow.
But the next step in climbing up higher on the ladder is to go for institutional assessment.
All right.
Okay? The version number 3 has just been launched to the Board of Trustees of the ASEAN University Network in July. So information is flowing down now to all universities at this conference. So that is the biggest thing.
In this year's AUNQA International Conference, JMCFI sent off the highest number of delegations, a proof that JMCFI is committed to maximizing opportunities in the pursuit of academic excellence. Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy's valuable support earned praise from key officials who represented the event in the capital city of Bangkok.
Thank you so much, Pastor, for this very great honor and privilege to represent our very own institution, the SMNI College Foundation Incorporated, and this can really help us in fast-tracking everything to fast-track our goal to become a university status in the future. Thank you so much, Pastor.
We are forever grateful to our founding president, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for being our constant guide in delivering the ACQ brand of education. For in JMC, your future is our mission. Thank you, Pastor.
And thank you so much, Pastor, for the privilege to participate in this conference and for your all-out support for the GMC delegation sent here in Thailand.
To our founding president, to Reverend Dr. Pastor Kibuloy, thank you so much. I mean, you are, to me, I would like to describe you as a man for all season who walks your talk.
We are very much thankful to our founding president, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the support that he has given to us, especially that we are one of the highest delegates in this AUN convention.
Offering quality education is Josemaria College Foundation Incorporated's top priority, and its participation in the international conference contributed significantly to providing innovative technologies and academic strategies for the school to achieve its goal, and also pushing for an excellent, assured, consistent, and quality, or the ACQ brand of education. For God and my beloved Philippines, Anissa de Guzman, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. Annex yourself willingly and voluntarily to the government of heaven. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit SMNINewsChannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Trey Gomez. Thank you for watching Newsline World, and thank you to our beloved Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. May continue to listen on SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.